Hello, everyone, and welcome to our channel. I'm Mark,
And I'm Rob.
and today we're going to talk about the end of the Indiana Fever season. A loss, the Connecticut Sun, 87-81. And hey, if you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, please do so. Hit the notification bell when you do. If you like Kate and Clark, subscribe to our channel. If you like NFL football, subscribe to our channel. Just subscribe. We're going for 5,000 subscribers. We're real close, and we need your help. By the way, before we go on, I just wanted to thank all our loyal fans, which have been with us since we started in April. We had a lot of loyal fans, a lot of people support us a lot, and we really appreciate your support.
Yes, appreciate that. Great comments. A lot of fun during the games. A lot of knowledgeable, watching the games and back and forth banter. It was really cool.
Okay, so Rob, unfortunately, I'll start with Caitlin Clark. She played great. I'll get into the details later, but it's the first thing I want to say. She played great. She made two unbelievable passes. She went all out. She put her heart into that game. It's a shame they lost. And if it wasn't for two things, I think they could have won. One was Coach Sides, and one is the refs, which I want to talk about first.
Okay.
They were awful. They were obviously biased towards Connecticut Sun for the second game in a row. The league obviously does not want Caitlin Clark to be successful in the playoffs because that'll make the rest of the players who've been in the league for so long look bad.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if the fix is in, but there's definitely an indication to me that they're not being fair to Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever. What was your take, Rob?
Yeah, I mean, that game just epitomized what we've been talking about for the whole season with the games and how referees are refereeing the game. They are really horrible. I mean, I don't know if they, like I said, we talked about if they have a referee in school or I hate to say it, I don't know if they were on the take because it seemed like it. I mean, most people who were watching, weren't even refs, could see that those two fouls on Caitlin Clark were fouls, and they weren't even called.
And it was the same ref. Is this unfortunately a bald white guy?
Mm-hmm.
And okay, so the first one, she didn't give her a landing space. That was Bonner. And she landed on her foot. It doesn't matter whether you land on her foot or between her feet. It doesn't matter. You can give her landing space. You cause contact with you. It's an automatic foul according to the rules, and it's supposed to be evaluated for a flagrant one. Which, considering that she landed on her and knocked her down, I think it's a flagrant one. What do you
Yes.
think, Rob?
No, that was exactly right, Mark. I mean, according to the rules, it should have been called a foul. She got into her landing space, and she also knocked her down. So that's also viewable for a flagrant one call.
And the replay shows the ref was looking right at the play, signaled to three, swallowed his whistle in regards to the foul, and he was only like around 8 feet away. So it was an easy call, and it was obvious he didn't want to call it. Later, I think this was in the third quarter, Clark is being guarded by someone else. She kind of bumps her, and then she comes in, drives towards the basket, and runs into Mabry, who bodies her with her elbow, hits the ball and her hand when she blocks it, and then hits her in the side of the head on the follow through, which is an obvious foul. And again, that should have been reviewed for a flagrant one, and I believe it was a flagrant one because it was unnecessary. The intent doesn't matter on those type of plays. If you're out of control to the point where you hit someone in the head, that's a flagrant one.
Well, that's the rule states if you hit the person in the head, that's a flagrant one. It doesn't matter if you're unintentional or whatever. I mean,
Right.
it's still a flagrant one, and she should have been called for that. Again, it was the same referee. It was right in front of him, and he didn't call anything. He didn't call anything.
He was again 8 feet away, and he saw the play and ignored it because the camera shows his eyes are looking right at it. Look,
Yeah.
you can see he's looking at it. It's the same guy. So if you want to talk about someone's on the take, that could be. I can't tell you how many points it could be because there's a flagrant one. You get three shots in the ball on the first one, and the other one you get two shots in the ball.
Mm-hmm.
That could be 9 points. It's unbelievable that those aren't calls. I mean, if I was the commissioner, this ref would immediately be taken out of the playoff rotation, would not ref any more games, and he would not be hired back for the next year. That's how easy those calls are, and that's how bad it makes the league look.
Yeah, I mean, but that's the whole thing, Mark. They don't care. They don't care how bad the league looks. Obviously, they don't care. And then they obviously don't care that if if I mean they won't admit it, but if Clark's not playing, if she had gotten hurt, you know, then the fans they would have like 5,000 fans in the arena. That's
Well,
it.
we'll do a video on this. And Caitlin Clark gets twice as many fans in the seats, and when it comes to television views, she has 4 times as much as everybody else. So it's not even close.
Yeah.
But those were calls right in the beginning of the game. They had the Connecticut Sun are more physical than the Indiana Fever, and for some reason, I looked at the score and I looked at the free throws, and it was 9 fouls against the Fever and only 3 against the Connecticut Sun. And they had already had like 9 out of 10 free throws, and Indiana Fever had only shot 3 for 4.
That was in the first half, right?
Yeah, it was in the first half. It was 9-3. Right. It was like it was obvious they were going to say, "Hey, we're going to make a statement here and make sure the Connecticut Sun wins this game," because they don't want Caitlin Clark to win this game, and then they go back home and they could pull an upset. They don't want Caitlin Clark to win. That's all. I'm convinced the league doesn't want it, and the refs don't want it, and obviously ESPN doesn't want it.
Right. Well, they didn't. Obviously, I don't know if we're going to do a video about that, but they obviously didn't mention anything about the eye gouge in the pre warm up. Nothing. Not a damn thing about it. Not one thing.
This is on ESPN. In fact, they talked about the fingernails on Sports Center, and he goes, "Well, we don't have to talk about the fingernails because it's not an issue." It is an issue. It's an issue to everybody but ESPN in the league. Any neutral person said at least it's an issue. At least it's a discussion on whether or not that was on purpose, which I maintain that it was. I'm not 100% sure. It sure looks like it was to me. But it's an issue. It's a discussion. And it should have been discussed by ESPN. And I don't know what word to use, but they're corrupt for not doing that.
Yeah, well, they're just going with the flow, Mark. That's what the league is. They're going with the flow, turning a blind eye to things that are obvious that anyone who's observing can see, you know.
Right. And then there was a call on Mitchell, and it wasn't even on Mitchell. And they later gave it to Hall again. They got the wrong player, and she had to challenge that. And again, she didn't lose her challenge, but the way I understand it, you're allowed 1 challenge, and you get 1 more if you get the first one right. That's it. So you get 2 total. So if you have to use your challenge on a call you shouldn't have to use your challenge on, you still have your challenge. But when you call that one, that's your last one, even if you get it right. And if you normally, if you've been able to use that one as your first challenge, you would get 1 more after that. So it really could cost them a challenge. And theoretically, it depends. So that, again, 2 games in a row, Mitchell was a couple feet away. It wasn't even on her. And then it's not even clear it was on Hall. And it's also not clear whether they're allowed to assign it to a different person once they get the foul call wrong on the one person. So
like you said, if you challenge it, you're challenging the call itself. But it seemed like they were looking to see who to correct the call and who the foul was on. So I was kind of confused. Like, wait a minute. So she won the challenge, but then they switched the call to Hall instead of Mitchell.
It wasn't even clear it was a foul on Hall to begin with. So Rob, I did a little research on the internet. I can't find whether they can do that on a review, but maybe I'll write to the NBA and see if I can get an answer for it, because NBA and the WNBA appear to use the same exact rules. So that's just the impression I got. So anyways, I could go on and on about the refs, but I think that's enough to say they weren't fair, and it's never going to be fair with Caitlin Clark. I'm convinced, Rob, and the Indiana Fever, if she's on the Indiana Fever.
Fever actually played. I mean, despite that, now we're going to go to coach, and of course, these 2 factors always are the main things with the Fever: the refs and the coach. They seem to coincide with each other. Well, with as far as causing the Fever to lose games. I mean, she doesn't know our broken record, doesn't know when to call a timeout. Clark was obviously, everyone, even in our chat, was saying she's tired. She's tired. And you're not even a coach, and you can see that she's tired.
Well, they were up 13-4, and the other team went on a 22-1 run. And as far as I remember, I don't think she can call a timeout during any of that.
No, she did not.
And she noticed when they came out in the third quarter, which I'll give them credit for coming out in the third quarter and got 7 straight, the other coach called a timeout after 7 points. Remember the other game, the other playoff game? It was 18-4 run, and she never called the timeout.
Mm-hmm.
Coach In another game near the end, against the Aces, I think they got 6 straight out of the third quarter, and the coach immediately called a timeout because she didn't like what she saw. Coach sides waits till it's like 34 points straight by the other team, and then, yeah, maybe I should call a timeout.
Gee.
And that's the other thing is if Clark looked tired. Why? Because she's playing her 40 minutes a game.
Both her and Mitchell.
Mitchell too, 40 minutes a game. So, but the refs, affect the game when you get Hall and Boston in early foul trouble. Well, now they sit out. Hall sat out most of the second quarter, and Boston sat out with some early foul trouble too, and that really affects the game. It really did, and they were down.
Boston deserved. I probably would have taken Boston out even the foul because she was just very soft and couldn't make a layup to save her life. It was just like, it was really bad. She had a horrible first half.
She missed 3 or 4 layups in the first quarter, right in the beginning. That I don't know if she got fouled on any of them or not. As far as I can tell, she didn't. But even if she did, they're not going to call it. But she missed 3 or 4 layups, and other than that, though, after that, she played great. She was awful in the beginning.
Yeah, 2 traveling calls on her, and back to back. It was like what's with the footwork here? Come on.
Well, since we're on Boston, she got 19 rebounds, and that is only 4 players 22 or younger have gotten 15 or more rebounds in a playoff game, and she got 19. I don't know if that's a record for 22 or younger, but all I know is she got 19 rebounds. That was the only statistic I saw. And Boston ended up shooting pretty well, considering she missed 4. She's like 7 for 12 with 5 offensive rebounds, too, out of the 19th. 3 assists, a steal, and 2 blocks, 2 turnovers, which I believe were both the travels, and 16 points. So overall, she had a great game if you take away the layups that she missed. So I guess that she had a very good game is what I would say. And well, let's talk about Fig Bentley since we're going through the stats right now. She played Boston played 32 minutes, by the way. And that's probably would have played, which is good. That's a good number for her, 32, 34. Fig Bentley played 35, and they needed her because Smith played 4 minutes of useless basketball. They were negative 12 when she was in. And Fig Bentley was 4 for 8. She hit a 3, 1 out of 2 for 3.
That was well, yeah.
9 rebounds, 3 of them offensive, 3 assists, a steal, and no turnovers. She played really well, Rob. She didn't play that great last game, but she played really well.
Right, yeah. I just wish. I mean, too bad. Wish if they would have had her more games during the season. They probably would have had more victories too if she hadn't gotten hurt.
Right. The only thing I can say, when she had that ball in the post, she didn't know what to do with it, and her players didn't help any because they didn't move when she had the ball in the post. She has no post moves. But if she knows that, then she should have backed out and started looking for her teammates. So that was the shot clock was partly on her and partly on her teammates for not moving to help her out. They just stood there, Rob, which is
that was another thing. Again, the stagnant offense, and I guess someone mentioned in the chat they heard sides saying he's yelling at Clark, slow the ball down and get the ball inside.
Oh, why that is so dumb against this team. As I mentioned last video, this team has a very good front line. They have 3 good front line people, good defensive players, and there's none of the players on the Fever have any post moves. So why would you want to play that type of offense against this team? That's so silly. That's the other reason they lost is because Sides is dumb, and she's playing basketball with the wrong talent and the wrong era.
But again, Mark, just like you pointed out in one game I didn't see this, the third quarter we were discussing. I was discussing with people watching. They have to use some kind of motion offense, move and cut and keep moving. And lo and behold, when they came out in the third quarter, they started doing that wide open, leaving the floor more wide open, so they can't just pack it in, and the big people on the other team have to come out. And actually, there's spacing, and offense there has to be spacing. Otherwise, like I said, you drive in and you saw everyone's all clumped together. It's like, no, you're not going to score.
Well, I saw that in the first 5 minutes of the last regular season game, and then Mitchell hurt her ankle. I've never seen it again or before that. And that means that this is partly on the players. This is not on the coach sides. She has to keep reinforcing it. But if I saw that type of offense, they were moving the ball well, they were moving around, they were cutting, and it looked great for 5 minutes. That means Coach Sides has taught them something, and they're not always doing it either. So it's partly on the players. But Sides has to keep telling them, hey, keep doing that, keep doing that, keep doing that. And don't play that, throw it into the posting. Do the offense that you just ran around in a circle and moved and everything like that. It worked really well. That's where Sides is wrong, where she doesn't emphasize that more as opposed to throw it into the post type of thing that she wants to do.
Well, a lot of players, like most of the WNBA players, don't really have moves off the dribble. And they were just dribbling in to the side, and then it was like three people, the defense, all in one side in the corner. I was like, what are you doing? Get it out of the corner. I mean, and then also when you dribble the ball, Mark, there's a purpose. You don't just sit there and dribble it. You dribble it for a purpose, either to get the person off of you.
Don't tell Wheeler and Mitchell that. They think you just dribble it.
Yeah, if you did when we say pound the ball, we don't mean by pounding the ball and holding on to it. You have to make a move either drive towards the basket to get the person off you. But a lot of them, they got the ball, and I should teach all my players that they catch the ball and they do that one dribble and then they pick it up. I'm like, what is that? What was your purpose of just dribbling the ball? And now you can't. Now you have to pass the ball,
right?
But you have to maintain your dribble and either make a move towards the basket if you drive, or make it so you're getting away from your player.
Right. Now, Mitchell played okay. She didn't seem to be, in this series, she didn't play her best. She's played great the second half of the year. I think she's a great player, except for the fact that she doesn't always play team ball. She goes ISO when she wants to, or when she feels the offense is stagnant or whatever. But she was a little off, but she didn't play poorly. She just didn't come up big. She was 7 for 18, 3 for 9. She missed a free throw. And she did have 3 assists, 3 rebounds, but she had 5 turnovers. And that's really hurt the team. 5 turnovers, and she's not the point guard. She ended up with 17 points. And, she's that one play at the end of the game, Rob, I don't know what happened. Someone in the thread said they thought she took the 3 and it missed. Then she got her own rebound. Someone said she thought it was going to be blocked. I saw the replay again. It didn't look like it was going to be blocked to me. I don't know if she panicked. She wasn't ready for the jump shot. And then she just threw it away. And that really cost them a lot. That was near the end of the game.
She didn't throw it away. She threw it to the wrong team and they ended up scoring.
Well, threw it away, meaning not throwing to her teammates. Yeah, she threw it to the opponents, but that's throwing it away. So is what's been costing them all year is not covering the 3. And the one person they had to worry about, Mabry, who was 5 for 12 last time, and I don't know what she was in this particular game in threes. Let me look. I did not look it up, but Mabry was 3 for 10. But she's a deadly 3-point shooter, and she can actually hit jump shots from the 2-point range too. You can't leave her open for a jump shot. And they're only down by 1. And somehow there's miscommunication or someone's not on her. I thought Mitchell was covering her during that time period.
No, Clark. I thought Clark gave that one.
No, wait, let me finish. But during that time period, like the play before, I don't think Clark was covering Mabry at the time. But I don't know. I didn't see the replay on this particular play. But either way, there was miscommunication, or Clark or Mitchell were not on Mabry, and she had a wide open 3 and that put the game away and up by 4.
Yeah.
If they allowed a 2 or something, they'd still be in the game. They did a 1-possession game instead of a 2-possession game. That was brutal. They've been doing that all game, allowing wide open 3s, and they did it at the wrong time.
And also, going back to the coach, your out of bounds plays. When I did out of bounds plays, they were meant to score, not just to inbound the ball. And even on the sidelines, I practice this. I do it like near the end of the practice. We go over it, just out of bounds plays, underneath the basket, out of bounds plays. I've won games. I've won an AAU championship on an out of bounds play. I won a playoff game with the women's team on an out of bounds play, the last second play. So I mean, it's an important thing that you have to really, go over. But I was watching them, going, "What are they doing?" So who is the person that should be taking the shot? Clark.
Well, Clark or Mitchell. Mitchell has a very quick release and it's quicker and can get open easier. But
they did that on one. She had a kind of but she rushed. Oh yeah, she had to shoot it. But
there's only 2 seconds left. I wouldn't even attempt to try to throw it underneath the basket like they did. And if I was going to do it, I would have Clark throw the pass instead of Hall, who's not a passer. So that was ridiculous. It was a ridiculous play. They should have set a pick or screen for Clark or Mitchell and just threw it in and just throw up the three. That's what they should have done, and then go for
Yeah.
the rebound. It was obvious what they should have done, and they did, of course, something that's totally illogical.
Yeah, the pass was very dangerous, and it was to Boston, and and her hands. She's got to work on her hand work, like you keep on saying. Strengthen her hands. She's too soft when she gets the ball. She gets it easily taken from her, like a little kid. Like, give me that.
Way too. I don't think I talked about this in a video yet, but maybe I did. And as I wrestled, I used hand grips, and you just squeeze the hand grips all the time in front of the TV, and your hands get much stronger. And I think a lot of those players need to do that. Women aren't as strong as men, and it just also helps because it seems like the Fever, partly because the refs are against them, but the Fever, when they get the rebound or when they get it in the post, the ball gets knocked out and stolen from them a lot more often than vice versa. That indicates to me that their hand strength is not there. Hull played really well. And by the way, the whole team played their heart out. So I have to give them credit for that. They really wanted to win this game, and they should have won the game if they had a different coach and different refs. Hull was only 1 for 5 for threes, though, but she played great defense again, and she made the hustle plays and the don't open the box score. She was 3 for 9. She still has to learn to create her own shot.
Yeah, she can.
Really, she's bad at creating her own shot. She can't even drive to a basket unless it's an open layup. But she had 3 rebounds, assists, a steal, 2 turnovers, and she had 5 fouls on her, so she did get in foul trouble. She played 31 minutes. Clark played all 40 minutes, was 10 for 23. Her three-point shot was off, but that was partly because she played 40 minutes and her legs get tired, and she's running a whole offense. And she was 3 for 12 there, hit both free throws, 6 rebounds, 9 assists, should have had around 15.
Yeah.
So many missed layups from her passes. A steal and a great block underneath the basket, only 3 turnovers, 4 fouls. And she really, really passed really well this game, Rob. And 1 turnover wasn't even a pass. It was she stepped on the line. Mm-hmm. So I thought she was very impressive how she played.
Yeah, the pass is inside, and then when they start running and get that ball up the court, she knows how to push that ball up the court and pinpoint pass for a layup, which some people have missed wide open layups on that. I'm like on the fast break there. I'm going, right. Oh my gosh, this is.
The really 2 most impressive ones were to Boston. One was that she threw it over Dejanay Carrington's hands, so it was a hard pass to begin with, and she threw it over the defender's hand by like this much, went into Boston's hand, and it was an easy layup. The other one was like a pick and roll play, and Boston cut towards the basket, and she sliced it in between almost no space, bounced fast, and was even basket. It was unbelievable passes. Yeah. Clark played really well. I don't think she should be playing 40 minutes. She should be playing 34. I've gone over this about 110 times. She should sit out the first 3 minutes of the second quarter and first 3 minutes of the fourth quarter, so she gets that 4-minute rest between quarters, plus the additional rest of those 3 minutes, and she'll be more well-rested, and legs will be fresher for her three-point shot. But no, she's got to play for 40 minutes, which is silly. And that's
Go ahead. I'm sorry, Mark. People try to say that. Well, no, the other team called a timeout, so that's a good way. No, she literally has to. I mean, that doesn't. It did help her at one time.
That's additional rest later on after the other play she should have had before.
Yeah, she's got to have like a sign of rest for like 2 or 3 minutes. You really do after 2 or 3 minutes, or she just come out. You could just like I said, everyone was saying she's tired, and you could tell she's tired. She has no legs.
She's running the whole offense, and she's trying to play an up-tempo offense. And that's tiring even for an in-shape 22-year-old.
Yeah.
I don't know what to say. The bench was non-existent. Smith only played 4 minutes, and Temi should have started a long time ago. She started playing well after coming back from the injury about 6 games ago, and that's when she should have been starting. And this is silly that Smith is checked out, and I think she'll be gone next year. But we'll talk about that in another video. Dantas only played 9 minutes. It's hard to really evaluate her. She played okay. She had 4 points, but no rebounds. She just was not a non-factor, and Wheeler was a non-factor too. So she was 0 for 1. Had 9 minutes. She had an assist and 2 points, but the bench didn't give him anything, Rob.
Yeah, 6 points. The 2 people that came in for the Sun, they scored 18 points.
Right. And to be fair to Smith, she did get 3 rebounds in just 4 minutes. So, but that's the problem, Rob. They don't have depth, and that all comes down to the fact that she didn't give playing time all year to I'm sorry. She didn't give playing time all year to Berger. They waived Celeste Taylor, and she's playing well for Phoenix. And they never gave Saxon a chance to prove herself either. And they gave too much playing time to Samuelson and Wallace. And why they couldn't figure it out when Hall and Samuelson and Wallace were on the same team last year. I can't figure it out. Berger was on the team last year. I can't figure out why took her so long to figure it out. It's perplexing to me and everybody else. The free throws ended up being 22 for 23 by the Connecticut Sun, Rob, which I have to give them credit for. That's 95%. So that's a veteran clutch performance by them at the free throw line. But of course, Indiana Fever only shot 7 for 9, although I will say some of the free throws came at the end of the game for the Connecticut Sun. But they ended up only 11 fouls against them, and there was 20 against the Fever, ended up. But at the three-point line, the Fever only shot 26%. And Connecticut Sun shot 26% also. And their shooting percentage was almost the same, 43% for the Fever and 41.7% for the Sun. But
though the free throws, some of them came at the end of the game. I mean, let's just say -5 of that mark. Still, the difference is crazy. How many free throws they shot? This goes with the refereeing, the home job. You know, you can say it's veteran team, which they are. They're a veteran playoff team, but they don't need any help from the referees. If they're a veteran team and been to playoffs before, they don't need any help from the refs.
No, but Fever had 13 turnovers and the Sun only had 7. Okay, that has nothing to do with anything but the players. Mm-hmm. And they the Fever out-rebounded the Sun 43-29. Rob, how often do you out-rebound the other team by 14 and still lose the game?
Well, they had, like, in the beginning of the game, the Sun could not. That's where they lost it. I think in the beginning of the game, the Sun could not hit any shots. They couldn't. They had a great advantage, the Fever, to come down and score or take advantage of that, and they didn't do it. That's part of the reason why they lost the game. They had a chance to score, but because the Sun they couldn't score anything. I was like,
they should have had a bigger lead than what they had.
Yeah,
it would have helped if Clark had gotten that flagrant 1 call on the 3-point shot. That would have been 3 points in the ball. It could have been a 5-point. But be that as may, they still had opportunities to, because they were out rebounding and the Sun weren't shooting. They could have got a bigger lead, which could have made a difference.
And again, even when the Fever had that lead, what did the coach do for Connecticut? They called a timeout. And didn't Connecticut go on a run and take the lead back?
Right. So, by the way, Clark was the second rookie to get 25 and 5. Maya Moore was the other one, her idol. And she's the first rookie to get 25, 5 and 5. And the first rookie since the first season of the WNBA to get that 25 and 5 and 5. So she also, her stat line for both games, Rob, was only rookie in basketball history to get 18 points, 5 rebounds, 8.5 assists, and 2 steals and 1 block. Only rookie besides her who was able to do that in a short playoff series was Michael Jordan. So I saw that stat. So I think it was in the first quarter, Clark said something to one of the refs and about one of the fans that was saying something about 2 seats back, it looked like, when I saw them go talk to this person. And apparently the person was saying something and they were using the C word ending in T. And that's what they were calling Clark. So that's why Clark said something, because it was, to her, that was over the line, which I agree with her. The security went up to the person and took him in the back and talked to him. And he came back out. Apparently he was not kicked out. He was allowed to stay.
He came back to his seat.
So Caitlin Clark did not get someone kicked out. And I have no problem with what Caitlin Clark did if that's the word that was used. The fans don't have that much right to use that type of language. And you know what? There's people there. There's families there. There's kids there. Yeah. To use really derogatory swear words is totally unnecessary.
Yeah, I mean,
that's what happened. Apparently, I don't know what was said exactly, but that's what I heard was said by the fans. Mm-hmm. So, someone criticized Clark for doing that or something like, really? How do you know what was said? Oh, supposedly he said it about her mother too. Mm-hmm. So her and her
Oh,
mother. So
oh no, that's those, Mark, as you know, those are fighting words.
I,
Those are
yeah,
fighting. You can say anything to me, talk about me, but if you start talking about moms, it's on. It's on.
anyways, I want to give Caitlin Clark credit for coming back from a not so great game, not making any excuses for getting poked in the eye, coming back playing hard. And it's a shame they didn't win that game. And if they had a different coach and different refs, they would have easily won that game. Although, they had their own faults, that they make the mistakes that we pointed out. And it's too bad that they couldn't get a fair shake in the playoffs, which I predicted, and Rob predicted too, that they would not get a fair shake in the playoffs, and neither game did they. And
Nope.
I don't understand what they hope to accomplish by getting Caitlin Clark out of the playoffs, because she's getting 4 times the ratings as every other game. So
now they'll see. They even those Connecticut Sun players are like, good, she's gone. We're done with her fans. Okay, we'll see. We'll see what the viewership is.
well, the problem is I'm not going to watch.
No, I'm
because
not.
I hate the league, and there's not one team that's likable that's left. If you look at the teams, I do not like Brianna Stewart at all, and the New York Liberty is the favorites to win. I don't have a problem with Serena Ionescu and the other players in the team, but I don't like Brianna Stewart at all. So I have a hard time rooting for them. Now, the Connecticut Sun, I don't like their team. They just played them. And I know the Minnesota Lynx' coach is Rob's favorite coach, the delightful Shiro Reeves. So I can't root for her team. So who's left? I don't like Asia Wilson. And she's the star of the Aces. And I don't like the coach, Becky Hammond, either. So I can't root for that team. So who am I supposed to root for? I guess I have to root for the Liberty, because the other teams are even more unlikable. This is like the worst of 4 evils.
Well, it really doesn't matter, Mark, because I'm not watching. So
I know. I may watch if it goes to game 5 in the finals or something like that, just out of curiosity, and see.
Which is another video, Mark. The playoff system. I hope after this year they change. It's a stupid, horrible system.
Right. There should have been a best of 5 series, anyways, and not a best of 3. And they shouldn't get 2 home games. That's ridiculous. They got charter flights. Why couldn't they change the rule after they changed the charter flights? They could have just changed it right then, because that's ridiculous. But if you want my prediction, I think seems pretty clear. It's going to be the Lynx versus the Liberty in the finals. I have no idea who's going to win, but those seem to be the 2 best teams.
Probably go to 5 games. I'd say, because the Lynx have very good defense, and Collier had a great game last night.
Collier's on fire.
She's tough. She's going to be a tough draw, but the Liberty have 2 good players, and then they have a nice bench. So we'll see.
Collier has proven that she deserved to be MVP runner-up, and I had no problem with her being MVP runner-up over Caitlin Clark. And I had no problem with what Caitlin Clark came in the MVP voting. I think next year it'll be different, and I think she'll be first-team All-Pro if they ever get the announcement out for that particular award, along with the Rookie of the Year, which for some reason they're holding back in the WNBA. No, notice the 2 awards that she has no part of. They announced right away.
Haven't announced it yet. Yeah.
They didn't want her playing in the playoffs as a first-team All-Pro and Rookie of the Year, so they announced it. They're going to announce it later. I'm going to look this up, Rob, and see when they announced the awards last year in what order. Because the NBA, I know, announced the MVP almost like last or second last.
Yeah, it's like maybe the 7th game or the 5th game. They don't announce that right off the bat. They couldn't wait.
Because I think I can find it on the internet by the date on the article about when they announced it. And I did not look it up yet, but I am going to look this up. See.
They couldn't wait.
What order they did it last year. Because they couldn't wait to say Asia Wilson won it unanimously. They couldn't wait. I mean, they were saying it since week 1, so why not just say it right away anyway? So we'll see what happens.
So hats off to the Fever. They played it. I mean, they made the playoffs. The team, like I said, like Mark said, they played really hard. I mean, it's this game they won. They really played hard, and they're just a young team. And like I said, with a better coach, they probably would have done a lot better. Maybe won this game, but they played hard. That's all. I mean, as a coach, that's all you can do. Is if they play hard, that's all I can do. I can say, okay.
Right. You can't do anything about your coach. You can't do anything about the refs. All you can do is play hard and play the best you can. And they did. And I think Caitlin Clark's first season was a huge success. she didn't have a great first playoff game, but she had a great second playoff game. And if she hadn't got hit in the eye, I'm sure she would have had a better first game. How much better, you can't tell. So anyways, and if the refs weren't against her and the team, I think she would have played even better. Be that as may, because her numbers would be up if she got the foul calls.
All right.
Anyways, we're going to have end of the year review videos on different topics, and we're going to have one on the eye gouge too coming out today. All right. So if you haven't subscribed yet, please do so with the notification bell when you do. If you like Caitlin Clark, subscribe to our channel. If you think the refs suck in the WNBA, subscribe to our channel. If you think Christy Side sucks as a coach, subscribe to our channel. If you like the Green Bay Packers, subscribe to the channel.
Nobody cares about the Packers. Nobody cares about the Packers.
All right. If you like Rob's Cleveland Browns, subscribe.
Nobody cares about the Browns either, except for me.
If you like the Buffalo Bills, 3-0, and Josh Allen, subscribe to our channel. If you like the Philadelphia Eagles, subscribe to our channel. Just subscribe.
Fly, Eagles, fly.
I'm giving you plenty of reasons to subscribe. And hit that notification bell when you do so you get notified of our next videos. If you like this video, hit the like button. And our next live show will be Monday. We'll talk about the football games that happened that weekend, both in college and the pros. And that's 6-8 Eastern time, except for major holidays. And we'll probably do a live game this week, and we haven't decided which one. We'll talk about it after this. All right, so join us for that. And if you want to donate to our channel, it's Super Chat, Super Thanks, and a link to PayPal. And we'll see you in the next video.
Peace out.